a March 26th, a little after 9 a.m., and we are picking work back up on S-255, an act relating to establishing a pilot law enforcement governance council in Windham County. Taking more testimony on this today, and we are going to start off with Terry Carzones, our state court administrator. How are you, Terry?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Terry Carzones, State Court Administrator. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on S-255. I did contact Sheriff Mark Anderson regarding the bill, in as much as its kind of connection with the judiciary. We enter into contracts in each county with the sheriffs for courthouse security, and that's our primary connection with Sheriff Anderson. He explained that S-255 would have no impact on that separate sheriff's contract for courthouse security. So there isn't any kind of connection in that respect. He mentioned that this does involve assistant judges in terms of the county budget. That would be in their role as administrative officers versus judicial officers. So that, again, would really no connection, so to speak, bless you, with the court. So I don't really take a position, nor does the judiciary, regarding the bill. I did listen to the testimony when different persons testified in Senate government operations. It certainly sounds like an interesting proposal, but I guess I wouldn't, I'll take a position or opposition from the judiciary's perspective. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have for me otherwise.
Yeah, any questions for Terry on that? I mean, I guess a non-position position is pretty like direct, indirectly direct. Absolutely.
Just based on my understanding that it doesn't directly impact the court and not affect the sheriff contract we have, which we're very, very happy with the relationship with the Windham County Sheriff's Office in Windham County.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
I guess, yes, that makes quick work of that witness. Is that we have nothing else for you then right now? If other things, questions pop up, because we're still just wrapping our head around this concept, right? It's like crossover money week. Everybody's kind of got the tank topped off. But we wanted to start poking at this one just to set the baseline of understanding. So
please don't hesitate if there are questions that come up. I'm right next door and I'm happy to come back or provide any other details or make any inquiries that I haven't addressed as well.
okay.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
that
you
does help.
again for the opportunity.
You got it. And then we'll go to Zoom next for Lamont Barnett. How you doing, sir? Assistant Judge, Windham County.
Good morning.
Morning.
So my name is Lamont Barnett. I am one of two assistant judges in Windham County, and assistant judge and former legislator Carolyn Partridge sends her greetings this morning.
Hey, hi, Carolyn.
Well, she's not here. She's just sending her greetings and asked me to send to the committee her support for S-255. She's been on the bench now for about 4 years and has been a tremendous asset to Windham County because of her experience in the legislature for, I think, like 23 years. So I'm sure a number of you know her pretty well, although she has been gone for 4 years. So let me just start by saying and introducing myself. As I said, my name is Assistant Judge Lamont Barnett. I've been an assistant judge in Windham County for about 15 years. Before that, I was a member of the Rockingham Select Board for about 15 years, serving as the chair of that board for 10. So I have quite a bit of experience in county government as well as municipal government. So for a number of years, I've been working with Sheriff Anderson and before him, Sheriff Keith Clark on budgetary issues. Every year we meet late summer to develop the following year's budget. Sheriff Anderson, brings forth his requirements and his needs. We talk about, the upcoming year. I think about 4 years ago, we came to a crossroads. Sheriff Anderson was housed in Newfane, Vermont, in the old traditional sheriff's department, which I don't know if anybody there is familiar with Newfane, Vermont, but it's a very small town, very quaint. But the sheriff's department there was old and antiquated. And I give this example. If any of you remember the old show, the Andy Griffin Show, in the jail that they used to show and then that was pretty much the sheriff's department. So it really was not a building that was suitable for a modern law enforcement agency. And this opportunity came up in Brattleboro for a modern, somewhat state-of-the-art building. I mean, it did have a little bit of age, but it was an incredible upgrade from the one that we had in Newfane. So Sheriff Anderson and I mostly, Carolyn wasn't on board yet, worked to secure that building. And that building has worked out tremendously. It now houses the Sheriff's Department. DCF has one floor there, and as well as a private tenant also. It has allowed us to create revenue for the building. It's not quite revenue neutral, but very, very productive. So Windham County has always had a tremendous working relationship with Sheriff Anderson. We work close together. And I will just say that, you know, in attending my association meetings throughout the state, that is not always the case with every county and their sheriff. Some have a very standoffish relationship with their sheriff. And as I said, that is not the case in Windham County. We work closely together. The assistant judges are extremely supportive of this bill. And frankly, our current system of creating revenue for the sheriff really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you were to equate it to a typical municipal police department, so how that would be funded was the citizens would show up at town meeting, they would be presented with a budget, and they would approve that budget or vote it down. And that budget would provide for all the things that the police department need: the building, the staff, the officers, the equipment. That's not the case with a county sheriff. With a county sheriff, we're only allowed to provide that sheriff basically with a building, support staff, some equipment, you know, telephones, that type of stuff, but no police equipment. And we cannot provide him with any deputies. We can't pay for any of that stuff. And so that's really never made a lot of sense if you look at what the needs of a county are. And let's understand that for most towns and counties in Vermont, they are not able, they don't have the population and the resources to create and maintain their own police force. They just don't. I mean, a lot of towns have populations of, 1,000 people, if that. And so it's always been kind of my position as an assistant judge who is responsible for maintaining the county budget, that it always made more sense that the county should play a larger role in providing policing for its county if we indeed want to ensure the safety of our citizens. And I think there's capacity there for us to do that within this bill. So let me just speak briefly on the county budget and the process of how that's developed. As I said, each year we meet, typically it's with the sheriff, the county clerk, the county treasurer, and the two assistant judges start meeting in late summer to develop the next year's county budget. county budgets are usually voted on near the last day in January. The new budget takes effect February 1st of every year. And in that budget, the sheriff's part is kind of like, well, in Windham County, I can tell you it's about half of our county budget. Currently, the Windham County budget is about $1 million, which is what it's been pretty much for most of my time on the bench, and we try to keep it somewhere around there. An example, this year, it was pretty much equally split between the county and the sheriff. The county's portion goes to maintaining the county courthouse. We still maintain the old sheriff's department, although now it is a museum, which is probably more appropriately what it should have been. And there's a barn where we store, the county snowplow and lawnmowers and those types of things. So that budget is developed every year. I don't think that the current system where we're asking the sheriff basically to go out and try to negotiate individually with every customer is really the best process going forward. As I said, you wouldn't ask that of a municipal police department. And certainly there's still going to be capacity for sheriffs to negotiate contracts with private companies. They do a lot of work with, construction companies for projects on the interstate, in Windham County, it's Route 5 and Route 30. And so they're usually always involved in those in some type of traffic control. So there is still that capacity there, but to expect individual towns to be basically treated like, for-profit entities where they're individually negotiating with the sheriff for contracts, I think is kind of antiquated and not really efficient. It makes sense to me that as the bill lays out, if a committee of the towns is formed, they can sit down with the sheriff and whoever is on the committee, they can all jointly negotiate what the level of services is going to be and what that cost per service is going to be. The county's authority in taxing is pretty simple. We have the authority to tax the county's grand list individually by towns. I think there's approximately 9 towns that have expressed interest in this bill. So I am anticipating what would happen is we would have to send them probably for this year. I'm not sure when everybody's thinking that if this passes that it would take effect, if it would take effect this year. I will say there is a bit of a disconnect between county budgets and town budgets. The county sends out their tax bill probably in May, and there's really nothing in statute that requires a town to pay that tax at any certain time. Generally, most pay by somewhere around June, I think, is when their fiscal year begins. Some pay half in June, then pay the other half sometime in the fall. So a bit of a disconnect in timing of tax bills and fiscal years that we probably would have to look at. I don't anticipate it being a big thing, but it should be noted that that's something that will have to be addressed somewhere. The other thing is, to get this off the ground, it's a bit of an increase in county revenue. Obviously, the county has borrowing authority in anticipation of taxes. We would rather not do that if we can avoid it. So we probably would ask that somewhere in the bill, we be granted the authority to send out a supplemental tax bill to fill that shortfall, if you will. Not crucial. I mean, again, we always can borrow in anticipation of taxes, but if you do that, then you're incurring interest, which just adds to the cost of the proposal. So I think in closing, I would just like to speak to one thing. There's been some conversation within my association about other counties, either supportive or not supportive of this. And I would just say that, if there's other counties out there that don't support this, well, simply don't do it. I mean, I don't think anybody's asking anybody to do something they don't want to do. If you do want to do it, I would recommend that for now, we just look at Windham County, because, I mean, let's be honest, we don't know for sure whether this proposal will work or won't work. And I think if you look at initially for the first year or two, we should use Windham County as an example of whether this really will do what we think and streamline the revenue generating ability of the county. So I would just say, let's just focus on Windham County for now. Maybe bring other counties in if a year from now we realize that yes, this is just working great, by all means. But for now, initially, to get off the ground, I think we should just concentrate on Windham County. I think that's pretty much all I have. Certainly, any questions?
Yeah, I think one of the ones that's been floating around is just like you just kind of touched on it, right? Like a year or two sort of as the beta test county, right? But some of the questions have been like 5 years seems like a long time for a pilot.
Well, yeah, I don't really know what to say about that time. I'm thinking more of before another county jumps in and said, "Hey, Windham County really has something here that is working great. We want to get on board." So that's why I'm saying, you maybe hold off on that for just a little bit before anybody thinks about going statewide. I mean, because this is quite a departure, as many of you probably know. Stowe v. Lamoille, where it expressly says that counties cannot do what we're proposing to do here, and that is spend money on policing. So it's a dramatic change in the way we've done things for, I think, since we've been a state, really.
Sure. No, I totally understand that. It was just something I've just heard that footnote of timeline.
Yeah.
Being a curiosity more than anything else.
I will say, the county supporting this is kind of contingent on that there not be a lot of changes. I mean, right now, it's a pretty minor lift for the county to just send out basically an updated tax bill. But, if the county, by that, I mean the assistant judges and, our clerical staff, if we're going to be asked to do a lot more, like, reviewing budgets and reviewing invoices and those types of things. I mean, we're not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying it's going to add to the county's cost, if you will. Right now, the existing sheriff's budget, we oversee, invoices and stuff related to the building that we own, but we do not oversee any invoices in regard to any of his policing. And so if we're going to transfer that onto the county tax base, and, oversight of, policing budgets and policing invoices comes along with that, then that means a lot more work for the county, which, we're not saying we won't do or can't do. We're just saying it's not what we do now. And you know, it would change what our relationship with the sheriff that we're currently not doing.
Any questions from the table? No, thank you for your time, sir. Feel free to hang out for the rest of the testimony if you wish.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Up next, Lieutenant Colonel, how are you?
Good morning. My name's Sean Lone, Lieutenant Colonel with the State Police. I'm the Deputy Director. I'm actually here on behalf of Colonel Matthew Birmingham. He couldn't make it today. So I have some notes prepared, which I normally don't do. I'd rather talk, but he gave me some guidance here. Bear with me.
It's like bumpers at the bowling alley, right?
So, quick thing for VSP. So the initial statements, we support regionalized policing. We think it's a great idea. We're a full service state police. We're not a highway department. We manage a huge amount of the calls that come into the state, as well as a lot of the land. So the idea of regionalized policing is a good thing. The concerns that Colonel Birmingham and VSP have with this bill are twofold. One of which is accountability based, and the other one is replication. So the thing about the accountability is that in a situation like this, you have an elected official as the police executive. And that elected official doesn't have the same position that a police chief would. So if a police chief has an issue or misconduct or needs to be relieved from duty, the town manager or a police commission or a governance board says you're done. And one of the concerns is, and this has nothing to do with Mark Anderson, he's a phenomenal law enforcement, and I'm friends with him and I work well with him, is that if you try to replicate this in other areas, we've seen issues in other areas where sheriffs maybe weren't working at the level that we wanted them to. So this is one of the concerns, is that in this particular pilot model, the elected official being the chief law enforcement officer could be problematic because the oversight doesn't allow that person to be removed from office as a leader. So that's the accountability portion. The other thing is replication. So understanding that this may work really well in Windham County. Sheriff Anderson is like I said, a great law enforcement leader. He has support. The idea is good, but can it be replicated in Addison? Can it be replicated? And if Addison wants it and the sheriff doesn't, what do the people of Addison do? Can they hire a police chief? So this is one of our concerns, is that while the concept is forward thinking, and it honestly would help the state police because it would put more law enforcement out there helping us handle what we do. Those are the two big factors that we see as a problem beyond the pilot. So that's all I have. Very short.
Okay.
If you have questions.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, no, it is.
Thank you.
Yes. Sure. Also a fan of concise and to the point. So
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Nice.
sir. Any questions for our witness? Yes, was that a hand? No, go ahead, Chief. Okay, Rep. Nugent and then Morgan.
I was just wondering if there's ways that you could see it working better.
So I think taking the same structure, but having a law enforcement executive that's hired by a police commission or a governing body that can also be fired by, punished, would be better, because you'd have, there's no elected official in there. That's how we see it from the state police point of view. So if you had a chief of police, just like if you had a chief of police of a town and they were doing poorly, the town could remove them from duty.
Do you have something, Rep. Morgan?
I do it with most of the folks coming into this capacity. Thank you for what you do. You guys have a tough job out there, and just always want to acknowledge that you're greatly appreciated.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
All right. Guess that's what we got for you, sir. Sheriff, how are you? Good. Please join us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Jennifer Harlow, and I'm the Sheriff of Orleans County, and I'm here representing the Vermont Sheriff's Association as president. I think I was asked to come in and speak to you guys about this. I'm not, right now, the Sheriff's Association Sheriff Anderson has definitely kept us informed about what the bill is, where it has gone so far, now being in front of you guys. At this point, the Sheriff's Association does not, we have never voted to either support it or oppose it at this time because it is a Windham County bill. So it's only involving Windham County, and Sheriff Anderson at this time. It's not affecting any of the other counties throughout the state at this particular time. So I will,
No position.
at this particular time, no. If other things come up and it does concern the rest of the sheriffs, then we certainly will. I'll answer any questions that anybody has if I can.
I mean, yes.
Just a comment.
And then hang up.
Thank you for being honest like that and saying that this is a local thing. We want to let it stay local and see where it goes, keeping an open mind. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah, we're certainly curious about it to see where it goes for sure, sir. Thank you, Representative.
So I think that was where I was going with this, is if you had any thoughts at all that you wanted to share with us on ways that this could be made better before it passes and gets enacted into law, if that's what's going to happen to it from a sheriff's point of view.
So again, the association hasn't really discussed this part of it. So, but I feel that I've talked with enough of the sheriffs that we're certainly curious about where this goes and how it's going to work. And if it is something that, could be better for the entire state, and that, and listening to other testimony as well is certainly curious. And I feel that, as it moves along, if that's what is going to happen here, that we'll be working and coming into certain areas to, if it needs to get better, if there's things that needs to change, then we'll certainly be a working partner with that.
Thank you as well.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, we definitely, this is one of the things I see as taking more testimony and continuing to get a better understanding on it. So,
Yeah, and I'm happy to come back if I need to answer more questions. It's no problem at all.
We see you here frequently.
yes.
Thank you folks very much. I really appreciate it.
No, of course. All right, committee. I just wanted to do a quick run through on this morning with people. And
Oh.
Senator,
we
you
have-
just turned your screen on.
We have Senator White wanting to.
Are you wanting
say
to
a
just
few words.
chime in?
Mark's out there too.
If it's appropriate.
Oh, please feel free. We got a little time.
Okay, so I just wanted to comment on a couple things that have been said. First of all, this is not an accountability bill. We've tried to stress that there might be some suggestions for accountability that come out of it after the pilot, but this is not an accountability bill. And as the trooper said, the replicability of it in different counties might be an issue because they might not be capable of doing it. But it doesn't have to be replicated. As Monty said, this is Windham County. If other people want to try it, they're welcome to try it. If they don't want to, they don't have to. Other counties may have their own solutions. I think that, and so it doesn't have to be replicated. I will comment on the shortening the time of the pilot. I think that the way it was designed was that the council would be able to start functioning as soon as this passes. And they would do things like the governance, the bylaws, how they're going to decide what coverage there is. And then they start working on a budget. There isn't even going to be any funding, any assessments in this for at least another year and a half. So if you shorten the time of the pilot, you won't have time to look at what happens when you have select board changes and possibly sheriff changes. How do you create sustainability? So I think that you can't. This is such a new concept, and so there are so many questions to answer that I would encourage you not to not to shorten the time of the pilot. It does seem like a long time, but it really isn't. Remember, we've been working on this bill with the towns for 4 years and we're here right now. So to have a pilot of only a couple of years doesn't make any sense to me. The other thing I would remind you that this is not, even if this passes, it isn't going to go into the green books. This is session law only. So what happens is that at the end of the pilot, it will either be successful and then hooray for Windham County, the towns get what they want. And then it might go into the green books in a manner that's different than this because it will no longer be a pilot. There will be some parameters around it. And if it doesn't work, it just goes away because it's only session law. It will not go into the green book. So if it doesn't work at the end of the pilot, it's over. So I just would remind you of those things, and that it is voluntary, and that if there's a town in Windham County that doesn't want to join, they don't join. It's entirely voluntary. So I just wanted to weigh in on a couple of those things because that's what I heard this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. All right, committee. That is our select of testimony for this morning until 10:30. When we're going to hear an amendment from Representative Sibilia on H67, which ironically is an act relating to legislative operations and government accountability. So, words. Anyway, so I will take us offline until 10:30 when we will hear that. And yes, that's it. Nick, take us off.